be shy. Step into the light.
Hello, we are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo, this is my forever co-host John, and we are wrapping up our fantasy week with The Hobbit 2. Hobbit 2 Furious. I don't know. The Hobbit Desolation of Smaug.
I mean, no, it is kind of like that.
Yeah.
where the world of Tolkien started to turn to the extreme a little bit with gigantic dragons and stupid barrel rides. But yeah.
Yeah. I do like how we start in the past with a chance meeting between Gandalf and Thorin. But like Thorin puts it together, it's like, this isn't a chance meeting, is it, Gandalf? And he's like, no, I'm here to help you reclaim the mountain and defeat the dragon. And now the stage is set, and we pick up where we last left off with Azor the Defiler hunting them down, and the hobbits and the dwarves and the hobbit are like, what do we do? And Gandalf's like, I have an idea, let's hide in someone's house. He's a bear at the moment, but he won't mind later. They get chased by the bear, and they're like, huh, it's a good thing it didn't eat us. Who's the host, by the way? And Gandalf's like, oh, he is. Oh.
Oh god. I don't know. Again, I don't know what was up with... I don't know if you remember watching this, by the way. Like, we really skipped the part where we talked about, like, how we ran into this. But, I mean, we were Tolkien fans, so... Oh well.
Yeah, we'll talk about it along the way.
Yeah. I think it's because of Ed Sheeran. The Tolkien universe and, like, you know, Lord of the Rings got really popular because of this movie. Like, it's not the best one by a long stretch, but, like, this is the one where everybody was just like,
oh shit,
oh wow,
Sheeran.
let's get into this because it's cool. I'm like,
yeah. Like, where were you
Yeah,
in the 2000s when it was at the height, at like the apex, where it peaked?
yeah. I mean, not to be like, oh, we were watching it when it was, like, before it was cool kind of deal, no, but it was like, you could tell that this is the point of of society was like,
Middle Earth is
watching
cool.
Lord of the Rings is actually cool.
Yeah.
You know?
But talking about cool things, Azor is summoned back to Dol Guldur, and like,
You can do it.
like if you didn't start with the Lord of the Rings, you're like, who's the weird voice he's talking to? But like, if you started with Lord of the Rings, which I didn't, so I was surprised. I'm like, I turned to my mom, I was like, is that the Sauron guy? And then she's like, I don't know. But we didn't know at the time, or at the beginning, we're like, it was this Benedict Cumberbatch sounding ghost thing. You're like, huh, I wonder what he is. Oh, he's just a necromancer. And then later on, you're like, oh no, he's more than just a necromancer. He's the biggest and baddest of the wizards.
He's the necromancer.
Yeah, but like, well, as the dwarves are chilling in the bear guy's house, he's like, you know what, I really don't like dwarves. They're selfish. They don't care about anybody else. And then Thorin's just like, what are you gonna say, huh?
Wait, Thorin, you really want to fuck with this guy who could actually turn into a bear?
Yeah, Thorin doesn't give a fuck. But he's like, but you know what? I hate orcs more, so I'll help you. Bring you to the forest of the elves, but these are not the happy-go-lucky elves of, what's his face? Hugo Weaving's character, Elrond's clan.
Yeah,
These are the elves of Mirkwood, less welcoming. But as they enter the forest, Gandalf's like, I feel a disturbance. I need to go on a side quest. And the rest of the dwarves and hobbits like, the fuck?
Yeah. Even the audience were like, what the fuck? Because they really tried to squeeze in the Book of the Hobbit and this... I'm gonna butcher the name. Silmarillion? Silmarillion?
Yeah, that's what
name.
I asked my sister and mom. I was like, is that true? And they were like, yeah. They tried to squeeze it in.
Excuse me.
Like, oh. But Gandalf turns to Bilbo and is like, you're not the same hobbit that left the Shire. something's different about you. And Bilbo's like, well, I found my courage. While hiding the One Ring, he's like, I hope Gandalf doesn't notice me.
Yeah, like at some points I do wonder if Gandalf does know and just doesn't want to say anything and just fucks over the Hobbit in the long run. Like, you have something that you know that I don't. And then he hides the ring. He's like, but he clearly knows. I don't know if that's Gandalf's way of like teaching somebody a lesson.
Yeah,
But
it's like,
fuck you.
it's like, you know what? The Shire is not gonna cause destruction towards Middle Earth, so why bother? What damage can one Hobbit do? Apparently, the entire series, the fate of the world rests upon the Hobbits. Who knew?
Yep.
But
Little guy.
he tells the dwarves and Bilbo, like, if you stray from the path, you'll never make it to where you're going, and they do get lost. Like, they're like, where's the sun? I don't know where to go. Look, Bilbo, I found a flask that's like mine. And he's like, that is yours. We've been going around in circles. We're lost.
This is the one where they're in like the spider forest, right?
Yeah, Bilbo just goes twang on a web.
Yeah, I hated this shit. I really did. Like, if one giant spider from Lord of the Rings wasn't bad enough, this one was like the Harry Potter equivalent of the Dark Forest.
Yeah. Like, Bilbo peeks and sees the bat, but like he goes back down and he sees a shit ton of spiders attacking the dwarves. They're already in like cocoons. He puts on the ring so he can hear them talk. And they're like, fat dwarves, feast. We will feast tonight. And then Bilbo stabs one of them. He's like, it stings. It stings. And he's like, that's a nice name for my sword. And then like when one poor little spider, when he falls, he like drops the ring. One poor little baby spider almost puts it on and he just massacres the shit out of the baby spider. Like, Jesus Christ.
I don't think it was a baby spider as well. Like, it was just like this weird insect, small thing. But when I say small, I mean like Lord of the Rings small equivalent.
Like,
it's this big.
yeah.
Like, no insect should be this big, but no spider should be a size of a house. Kind of big. Fuck, I hate the scene. I really didn't like. I don't know why. I just don't remember this first part of the. I think my brain was just trying to protect itself. Alright, you don't need to look at the spider part.
But like, we do meet someone familiar as the dwarves are surrounded. They're rescued by the elves, including Legolas. And like, oh shit, it's Legolas. Again, since this is The Hobbit, I started with this first. I was like, oh, it's the guy from the previous movies. I should really watch those.
He's the and my bow guy.
Yeah. But it's cool seeing Legolas, even though I know a lot of people hate the fact that Legolas is in this.
Why? Was he not in The Hobbit?
I don't think he was as prevalent as he is in the movies. Like, in the book, he's barely there.
Alright.
And we also meet Evangeline Lilly as Toriel. And then they start a thing. She starts a thing with Keely. Like, you can see like some feelings are developing. Then they take the dwarves back to Legolas's father, who is Thranduil, who's played by Lee Pace.
I'm sorry. Every time I keep thinking of like Keely and Evangeline. Can't say her name.
Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah, Evangeline Lilith. Fuck. Whatever. Like, every time I keep seeing those characters, like, she's the one who broke the norm. No matter how handsome the guy is, if he's short, he's not that good looking. But when somebody's like 6 foot and ugly, they'll take that over the handsome short guy.
I love that.
That was all in my thought process. But I was like, he broke the mold.
I love how he's like, Keely's like, aren't you gonna inspect me? I could have anything down my trousers. And she's like, or you could have nothing. Like, oh, damn.
Not gonna lie, the man had game.
Yeah.
He tried.
And then Thranduil tries to make a deal with Thorin, and Thorin's like, I will not make any deal with you. You abandoned my people. You turned them away. So I will never retrieve your gems or make any deal with you. And he's like, fine. 1,000 years is a blink for the life of an elf, I will wait until you give in. And you think they're going to be in prison forever, but Bilbo is there to save them from captivity.
Yeah, and we get the most kind of sketchiest part of the movie, which is also kind of the most fun.
Oh, before that, do you like how do you say this? Like condescending the dad is to Toriel, because she's like, I know you'll never let your son pledge himself towards me, a lowly elf. And he's like, no, you're right. I would never. You're like, oh, for Toriel. Oh, well, she can just settle for Keely.
Yeah, just settle for the short king. God damn.
But yeah, that's when we get the barrel scene when Bilbo rescues them with barrels and they go down the river, being chased by the elves, at the same time the orcs, who are this time led by Bolg, because the necromancer told Azor to stay put. Yeah, memory serves right. Yeah. Along the way, Keely gets hit by one of the orcs, but he's saved in time by Tauriel and Legolas, and they keep going downstream. And we get the barrel scene of this one dwarf just fumbling his way across or like against the orc army. You're like, I don't know if this is stupid or is this funny stupid.
Is it the one where he's like waist deep into the bucket, like the barrel,
yeah,
but he can't get out.
Yeah.
So he once he lands, he sticks out his arms with his weapons and starts spinning like a Beyblade.
I know it's stupid, but it's funny at the same time. See this big chunky boy just go, oh, I'm sorry.
No, you know what I love is that I like how the dwarves fight. Again, we mentioned this in our first Hobbit video, where how they fight, there's kind of a flow, it's kind of choreographed, but at the same time it's very, very, also kind of, entertaining to watch.
Yeah. And
then here comes Elf Boy trying to look cool and not looking cool at all.
Yeah, it's also because it's painfully obvious that it's CGI when Legolas is just bouncing between the barrels. Like, yeah, there's definitely CGI, unlike in the original trilogy where you're like, it's seamless. Here you're like, yeah, that's a green screen. Yeah, those are just effects. Alright, cool. But yeah, there's a thing where after the dwarves make it past the border, the elves stop because they're like, well, that's a them problem, not an us problem. But they do capture one of the orcs and they bring back to Tandril, and then he tells Toriel like, oh, we shot one of the dwarves and he's dying and he's the one that you have chemistry with. And she's like, how dare you give that, let me give you that. And then Tandril's like, no, I need information. And then the orc's like, oh, I think you know what's coming. Our age is coming back, the Dark Lord is coming back, and your city will burn. And he just cuts off his head, and Legolas is like, I thought you said you would set him free. He's like, yeah, I set him free. I set his miserable head from his shoulders. Like, oh.
I do like this. I do like this new elf king that we got introduced to. Because I was like, this guy's kind of metal.
Yeah, it's a lot better than his MCU character for me.
Oh yeah, Ronan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, something's so intimidating with a guy who's so pretty, and yet so condescending. And then you see him with this horse ear thing as his mouth. I'm like, that shit's sick.
Also, before that, when Thorn was asking what do you know of Dragonfire, and it's like, don't question me. And you see his scars. It's like, I battled the Northern Drakes. You're like, oh, this guy has seen combat and has paid the price. Cool. Oh
yeah, where he takes off his magical mascara, makeup. Oh yeah, that shit was sick.
Yeah. But yeah, you sense where the orc is going, and you're like, again, if you know, you know. But if you don't know, you're like, huh, what's he talking about? Someone explain to me. It's lock down the kingdom, no one escapes, and then they're like, what about Tauriel? Legolas is like, what about Tauriel? Oh, she went off by herself with her bow and knives, and he's like, god damn it, okay, I'll go after her. And then the dwarves meet Bard, and they're like, for a price, can you take us to Lake Town, please? We just want to complete our quest. Woo woo. Like,
Ooh.
and he's played by.
What a coincidence that they would run into that guy.
Yeah, I forgot
The guy who had the fucking spear arrow thing?
Yeah.
Or bolt?
Black Arrow. I forgot the actor's name, man. Oh, Luke Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say Luke Wilson for some reason. I was like, no, that's not right. But yeah, I do like Bard the Bowman. That he is the descendant of the guy who tried to kill Smaug with the Black Arrow but failed. But you see how bad the situation is for Lake Town, because it's this lonely place filled with like fish and oil, and it's not the best place to be. People are starving.
Ran by Stephen Fry.
Oh yeah, I find the editing weird too, because like the guy's like, oh, people are demonstrating in the streets, and then it takes a while for him to answer, and he's like going down the stairs already. He's like fully dressed. He's like, oh, demonstrations. You're like, it's either the editing's weird or you're just a dick, just being like, I won't talk to this servant of mine until I make it down the stairs.
Maybe that was the case. I don't know.
Yeah, and his servant or right hand Alfred turns out to be the worst character of the next movie, because you're like, just shut up, please. But yeah.
Oh my god, I just forgot that this extends towards the next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if anyone hasn't watched it yet, this movie doesn't end, by the way. It ends once you watch the next one.
Yeah. I do like when they're making their way towards Lake Town, the elder dwarf is like, alright, cough up your savings, and then the big guy is like, what have I seen from my investment? Nothing. I've seen nothing but pain and misery. And they're all looking at the lonely mountain. He's like, what? Take everything. Take everything. Come on.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that part where they're just like, I'm ready to give. And they just see it. I was like, yep, okay, we're almost home.
Yeah.
But there's still more pain and misery.
Yes. I do like it that Bard makes the dwarves suffer utter humiliation. They're hiding in fish. They have to hide under the toilet of his house too. They're like, for fuck's sake. And
Nasty.
they're like, can we have weapons at least? And he gives them like makeshift weapons. They're like, no, we mean swords and iron. It's like, it's a fishing town. What do you want from me?
Exactly, it wasn't what you'd expect.
But as they're talking about the prophecy, Bard's like, that sounds familiar. That sounds like a bad prophecy. And then he sees the tapestry and like an old story of like the lineage of Thorin. It's like, oh shit. He's the descendant of the Mad King who had all of us pay for his greed. And as he's discovering this...
this foreshadows. Which is actually an odd art for me, by the way. Once we get to that part, it's just weird for me.
Yeah, and then the dwarves sneak, try to get the weapons from the armory, but Keely, since he's injured, falls and stumbles and makes a loud bang, and they crash towards the armory, and they're arrested, and they're brought to Stephen Fry, and he's like, oh, what do these common criminals want? And what's his name? McTavish? Grant McTavish?
Grant McTavish, the bearded bald one.
Yeah, it's like, don't you know who you're talking to? And then Thorin's like, we are the dwarves of Erebor. We have come to reclaim our homeland. I remember this town when it was the center of trade. And he basically promises like, oh, if we get the treasure, we will share it with you. And then Bard's like, do you not remember what happened to our town? And they're like, yeah, Bard, wasn't your ancestor who missed Smaug? And he's like, oh, dang, you didn't have to hit low, but sure.
You didn't have to do him dirty like that. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, but wait, are we really going through it step by step? Because there's so much shit that happens.
No, I'm just getting the main points.
No, I'm sorry, because there's a lot of shit that doesn't happen. There's a lot of dialogue and a lot of like riff-raff, and it's like, it doesn't really matter. Oh, we gotta hide before the humans see us. That's majority of this arc until we get to the mountain.
Yeah, I really just like the dialogue, and then when we get to Smaug, it's where you get the price of admission. Honestly.
Yeah. No, but I do like the part where they're trying to like fix up Keely, where he's dying, but then they sent like a squad of orcs or Urukai to pretty much finish the deal.
Yeah.
And then the Wasp from Ant-Man and the Wasp comes in to save him. Sorry, I keep forgetting your name because you don't believe in science, but yeah.
Toriel.
Yeah.
I do like the exchange between Bard and Thorin before they leave when he's like, you have no right to enter that mountain. And then Thorin's like, I have the only right. Like, oh.
Oh. Not gonna lie, I was like, ooh. I was hot.
Oh, and then we do go back to Gandalf because he does bring along the High Wizard. I forgot his name. Shit. But yeah, that guy from the first movie who has like a sleigh of bunnies or rabbits.
Yes.
Radagast. And he's like, I have to go to the necromancer by myself. And it's like, it's a trap, Gandalf. It is most definitely a trap. And he does the spell, and Azard just like, you know what, fuck this guy. And he just comes out of the smoke, just shoulder tackles Gandalf. Like, god damn, for an old man, you can take a hit.
Oh yeah, this is where Galadriel like comes in, right?
No, that's the last movie. Because here he's like pinned against the wall by Sauron, and you're like, oh, that is definitely Sauron. There's no mistake. Which doesn't make sense because again in the Fellowship, he's like, I'm not sure if the enemy has come back. You're like, you're not sure.
You were face to face with it.
Like, what kind of fucking inconsistency is this? Yeah, they do leave without Keely and the funny guy with the mustache because he fell drunk.
Yeah.
And they also leave Feely because he's like, I'm not abandoning my brother. And then that's where we get the scene of him being healed by, now I'm forgetting, Toriel.
Yeah.
Well, Legolas is just doing business or like dispatching business with the orcs. Like, this man is on a mission to do something because he's like, why are the orcs here? Why am I here? I'm just here because of Toriel.
Hey, we get a cool scene at the like it's night and then he's like killing majority of the troops. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it reminds me a bit of like Shadow War.
Yeah, it does. And then he pursues Bog when he's going off to, and Dromer's dying.
Yeah, for some reason my body like is immediately as soon as Enzo hit record was like, no.
But we do get the scene of the dwarves trying to enter the mountain because they're like, we finally made it. It's almost nighttime. We have to hurry. And then the sun sets, and they're like, oh, I guess we're too late. I guess this was for nothing. And Bilbo's like, you can't give up so soon. And they're like, peace. You're like, what? Why?
Yeah. Like they lost all motivation. I'm just like, I get kind of odd for me. I'm like, really? You're not gonna... Like, was this the only time or is this the only entrance? Like, really?
Like, you've been solving puzzles and riddles this entire trip, and now you're just like, well.
Yeah. Like, they just... But, yeah, I don't know. Oh, wait, how did they get in again?
Bilbo is like, oh, it's the moonlight. And almost drops the key, and then Thorin's like, you almost fucked us, boy.
That's always the thing with like your hobbits.
Yeah.
They always like almost drop something near a precipice or whatever or cliff.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, Bilbo, you're here. Your main quest, by the way, is to retrieve the Arkenstone, which is the crown jewel of Thorin's lineage. So if you can get that, we'll be cool. Easy peasy. You just have to sneak past the mountainous dragon. You good with that? Alright. On your way.
Yeah, because his feet can't be heard. But, like, I do like this scene, though. I love seeing the world of the dwarves.
Yeah.
Like, this entire kingdom seems very impractical in the fact that it has, like, gold everywhere.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's very beautiful.
And then, like, it starts caving in, and you just see a claw, and then you see the eye. You're like, I hope he doesn't wake up.
No, but that's well, like when it does wake up and Bilbo's just trying to hide. I was like, this is like one of like our biggest nightmares. Is like being stuck in a not small room, but a big enough room for a gigantic thing to go around while you try to like sneak away.
Yeah, and I said this is the part where you definitely the movie earns the price of the ticket because it's Benedict Cumberbatch being all like,
Well, thief, I smell you. I hear your breath.
Yeah. I'm like, I do appreciate the effort for Benedict Cumberbatch for mocapping.
yeah.
Well, I don't think he needed to, but okay.
I mean, it's yeah, you just gotta respect the craft. I do like the scene when he's just like,
Oh, come now, don't be shy. Step into the light. Here's something in your pocket. Something made of gold, but far more precious.
and Bilbo's like, fuck it. Like, oh, there you are. Bilbo's just trying to charm Smaug. He's like, I just wanted to see your stature. I did not believe the tales. He's like, do you now? And you see the size of Smaug. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, Bilbo, stroke that thing. Stroke that thing.
He's like, I've never smelled your kind before. Where do you come from? He's like, I come from over the hill, under the hill. Keep going. I am a barrel rider.
Lovely titles. Barrel rider.
And he keeps trying to charm Smaug until Smaug's like, oh, I smell the dwarves. He's like, dwarves? What dwarves? I don't know. What's a dwarf? He's like, you have nice manners for
A thief and a liar.
And Bilbo's like, I'm sorry. He sees the Arkenstone. He's like, did you not think this? I did not know this day would come when a pack of dwarves would come crawling back the mountain. And Bilbo's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he tries to hide too. And he's like, you know, Oakenshield's quest is in vain because a darkness is coming. And you see the armies of Sauron. You're like, again, how does Gandalf in the Fellowship like, oh, I don't know if the enemy's back. I don't have enough evidence. You're like, what?
No, again, it goes back to my theory where, like, Gandalf knows there's a problem or knows what the problem is and just doesn't want to say it. Because he knows that it's going to be a valuable way of learning, but then fucks everybody up and just takes the chance.
Like, maybe there won't be a war that might destroy Middle-earth. I'll take that chance. Sure, Gandalf. Even tries to... Smaug also tries to tell Bilbo, like, oh, Oakenshield doesn't give a shit about you. He has waived the value of your life, and he's like, you know what? It means nothing, because all he cares about is the Arkenstone. Bilbo's like, no, it's not true.
Very true.
Yeah,
Sadly.
yeah. And then Smaug's like,
I am almost tempted to let you take it. If only to see Oakenshield be corrupted, watch it destroy him, and drive him mad. But I think not. I think our little game ends here. So tell me, how do you choose to die?
and Bilbo just puts on his ring in the nick of time. Smaug just sets it ablaze, and then he meets Thorin. He's like, where's the Arkenstone? It's like, there's bigger problems than the Arkenstone. And Thorin just blocks him with his sword and starts pointing at Bilbo. You're like, hang on a moment. Is this the point where you turn heel?
Yeah, it is the oddest part for me because it's not like the ring where, right, you have it, it's on you, or like it's on you for a while and you're just corrupted by it through time. While Thorin Oakenshield wasn't even touched by the Arkenstone and just started going crazy.
Yeah.
Which is an odd thing for me because this is what we agreed on, is that this object makes them corrupt. But he didn't have the object to begin with. I don't know why he's being corrupted. This is like the oddest plot point in like the second movie because why is he losing his mind? Like why?
Some expert on Middle-earth lore will probably tell us in the comments, and I will gladly read that comment. If you know
Like,
why.
yeah, for sure they'll be like, oh, it's the lineage, it's the bloodline, and like it affects the bloodline or some shit like that. I'm like, oh, the mom had it on her belly when she had him in the womb.
And then I love it when Smaug sees the rest of the dwarves like, I fucking knew it.
You'll all burn.
And they try to hide.
And we get a really cool fucking scene with Smaug just losing his shit.
Yeah, they're them trying to hide it, and then they get to the room where they see all of their kin who were hiding, and it just died. And then Thorn's like, I refuse to die this way. We're gonna go to the furnaces or die trying. If this is to end in fire, so be it. Then we will all burn. You're like, oh damn, that line always gives me goosebumps. You're like, oh shit. And then they separate in groups trying to lure Smaug into the the furnace, the bar, or like where they make the gold. The furnace.
Yeah. Was that the one where they had the kiln, like the thing filled with gold?
That's the other room, but like before that was the furnaces. I do like the scene when Thorn's going down and Smaug just chases him. Like, oh, Smaug's really out to get him, and then he goes back up, and they're like, oh, we need heat for the furnaces, and he's like, Thorn's like, I got this. Hey, you fat fuck! I didn't do that. I didn't come to.
I would have loved it if Thorn's like, you fat fuck.
I didn't come here to see you so easily outwitted. You become fat in your doltage, you slug. And Smaug's like, what did you say to me? Huh, you fucking bitch? And he just burns the furnaces. I'm like, Smaug's petty. I like that.
I love this whole paraphrase scene by Enzo between Thorn, Oakenshield, and Smaug.
I'm sure I got like 70% right.
Sure. That's a good percentage, I'd say.
Yeah. And then it just feels like a video game when they're just running around trying to avoid the big monster. They can't do damage yet. They're just collecting what they need to collect. Like, it's kind of like Resident Evil. We're like, shit, I don't have the components yet. I need to just run around and hope he doesn't see me.
Yeah, mixture of like Resident Evil and the Shadow of the Colossus kind of deal.
Yeah. And then they all escape to the next room, and then Smaug just bursts into like the throne room, and he's like, you, Battle Rider, you've come from Lake Town. I knew there was a scheme between these miserable dwarves and those tough trading lakemen. Perhaps this time I pay them a visit. And poor Bill.
Okay, hold on, you piece of shit. We have to come from Lake Town to get here.
Yeah.
Like, anyway.
Yeah,
he flies, so he doesn't know. It's kind of like a rich commuter. Doesn't know how to ride a jeep. Just to get from point A to point B, but just takes a grab.
Yeah, I do love the scene when Bilbo's like, no, they had nothing to do with this. And he's like, you care about them, don't you? Good, you can watch them die. And then Thorn again is like, hey, Fatso, come back here. And he's like, what?
I'm sorry, I just love it that Smaug gets triggered by fat jokes.
It's like, this is our kingdom. And he's like, it's your kingdom. I instill terror in the hearts of men. I hate your people. I am king under the mountain. And Thorn's like, you're not the king under the mountain. This is our kingdom. And we will have our revenge. And then, for some reason, Smaug's like, oh, that's pretty.
They broke, like, the mold of, like, the statue.
Yeah.
I don't know how it held up. Nor the fact that it's not fully baked. I don't know.
Like, it's not solidified. You're like, how does that work?
Yeah, I don't know either. It's kind of like chocolate. You know that chocolate you put on ice cream?
Yeah.
Where it just, like, hardens immediately?
Yeah. And then for a brief moment, you're like, I guess that's it. And he just bursts through the goat and he's like, revenge! I'll show you revenge! And he just flies up, removes the goa, and he's like, you hear the reaction of people in Lake Town because Bard's arrested, but he's like, do you not know what is coming? And like his kids are like, that's the sound of a fucking dragon. And Tariel's like, I hate it here. Smaug.
Oh, I love that scene though. Like him, like we thought we killed him, like by drowning him in gold. It was like, how ironic. No, fucker's still alive. I was like, nah, you ain't killing me that easily.
It's true what he says.
Why?
My wings are a hurricane, my claws are spears, my teeth are swords. Like, yeah, I believe him. He's a fucking dive bomber with teeth and wings and shit.
Like, and he gets out, he's covered in gold, and as soon as he flies, you see the like shimmers of gold falling off of him.
Yeah.
And you just feel terror, knowing the fact that he's so close to this town, and like, these people are gonna get fucked for no reason.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault.
He's like,
I am fire. I am that.
Yeah, and then boom, Ed Sheeran.
What have we done?
like, yeah, what have you done?
Yep. Y'all fuck.
And like, it's a good ending. It's like the best of this trilogy, honestly, for me at least.
No, I agree. I agree.
So when we get to the last one, again, you're like, why is Thorin so weird about being a dick?
That's the only like. That's the only like gripe I have. Not really only. There's a lot of gripes in this movie that I have, but it's just weird.
Yeah.
Like, why out of nowhere? You haven't even touched the thing, man. You just like, you're just posing at this point. I don't know.
Yeah. It was a shame because I do, again, this being my introduction to Middle Earth, I was like stoked for the next one, and then the next one came. I was like, well, we have Star Wars next year. I have to look forward to that. But yeah, what would you rate Hobbit 2, Dragon 2 Furious? I mean, the Desolation of Smaug.
Check. I don't know. It's just the Hobbits trilogy is just not doing it for me, in my opinion. Like, even though this is the one I like grew up with, it's just not working for me. So I'm gonna give Desolation of Smaug like probably a solid 7. Like, it's not an 8, it's not a 9, it's not up there, but it's like entertaining enough, you know. But yeah, it's just a 7.
Yeah, I'll also give this a 7. Like, the action's fine enough, the story's good to a point. CGI it's good until like you're like, I can notice the CGI. That's the thing with CGI, when you're like, oh, I can obviously tell it's CGI, unlike in other movies like Jurassic Park, where you're like, I really can't tell. If that was a real dinosaur, I would believe it. But here, you're like, yeah, that's definitely... What's the actor's name? Orlando Bloom on green screen. So yeah, I have to detract points for that. Like, really, I give all the points for the talking points and, like, Benedict Cumberbatch.
Mostly the dialogue. Yeah.
Because, like, the scene between him and Bilbo is, like, what, 15 minutes? And every time, I'm just hypnotized because I'm just like, the CGI, the dialogue, the drama, the chemistry that they have with each other is amazing. Well, it also helps that they've worked with each other in Sherlock before this.
Yeah.
So that probably helps. And like, again, he's definitely why you go see this movie, just to see this amazing performance. But yeah, both 7 out of 10s across the board. Like, is it the best of Middle-earth? No, but is it a good entrant? Yeah, it is. Definitely is.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't mind watching this again.
Just watch Lord of the Rings. God.
Yeah, if there's any takeaway, just watch the original trilogy. But if you like this trilogy, more power to you. You know, you like what you like. But yeah, that has been our video on Hobbit 2, Thorin's Sad Boy arc.
Blue. Oh.
The Desolation of Smaug. What do you guys think? Do you like, I will ask this question. Do you like the Hobbit trilogy more or the original Lord of the Rings trilogy? Comment below. Let's have that interesting conversation.
That is such a hot seat. I mean, to anyone ballsy enough to fucking like comment that,
yeah,
good on you.
No judgment.
But no judgment. But everybody else will.
Yeah, we can't guarantee nice comments in the comment section, but we'll try. We'll try to make it cool. Keep it cool at least.
Not from us, by the way. Not from us.
Yeah.
It's from the world.
Yeah, just the world. We're cool. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can find us also on Facebook. Sorry, not Facebook. We don't have that anymore. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. But if you want to see more of us on YouTube, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. You can find us on Spotify, whether you're traveling the lovely New Zealand countryside or wherever you are in the world. TikTok to see our best and funniest moments. Individually, you can find me at Gandalfus1995 on Twitter. How about you?
You can find me at JomGUM_on Instagram. It is my account.
Yeah, and next week we'll be talking about some fun popcorn movies. Just cool, almost turn your brain off movies, but not really. Just really good movies in general. That's fun for everybody. Yeah, until then, we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
I am fire. I am that.